and gentlemen, let's talk sports with Rod Luck.
To the ribbon, everybody, and welcome Gorilla Monsoon. I think you like Gorilla Monsoon in this town. What about Gorilla Monsoon for Mary? Could do better than some of the guys they got in there anyway, I think. I want to say before we start, everybody, and there's going to be a lot said here tonight, what have you, but about 3 weeks ago, I talked with some people, and we're going to go to Brad Diamond in a moment, and Archie Moore is calling. We're just going to take him for a minute. But before we go to Gorilla and before we do all the other things, I talked to Vince McMahon Sr., who is like the czar of pro wrestling, and everybody knows pro wrestling, they know the McMahon name, and said, I want to do things for wrestling, having people on the air and what have you. Some guys say to me, what the hell are you going to put that on? What's the... When they do 18 to 20,000 people at the Spectrum when they wrestle, 15 to 18 to 20,000, that tells me that you people are interested. And to see a crowd like we have here tonight, that tells me you're interested. So I would say if we put on a scale of 1 to 10, just by your applause and the way you feel about Gorilla Monsoon, that would tell me how much you care. What do you care about this man and his people, huh? Yeah. Archie Moore should join us shortly. Again, we should hear from an Archie Moore anytime. And while we're waiting, let's talk to Gorilla Monsoon and about your wrestling days, which are now over with. We talked about it before when you were with Freddie Blassie. But you went into retirement, and now you're on the executive end of it all, the promotional end of it all. And how much do you really like to get back in there? How much would you want to jump in there some nights?
None whatsoever.
Here, get it.
No way. There's too many young guys out there want to beat on my old body.
Man, I got to tell you something. And I'm going to regret this. I know I am. But one day I was talking to a gentleman just a couple of weeks ago that was giving me a bad time about exhibitions and about this kind of angle that professional wrestling takes and what have you. And I said, well, look, I tell you what, I take Gorilla Monsoon out of retirement, and I like to eye gouge you. I like to kick you in the keister. I like to do some things that every fan out there has always liked to do, and I'd like to get you out of retirement. What are the chances of doing that?
Highly unlikely, Ron.
Why do you say that?
Number one, I never really take you serious to begin with, Ron. Number two, you don't have any credibility. You'd have to beat somebody like a Frank Talent first.
Well, I'm being very honest in that. I think that if we could work it out, Gorilla, do you think you and I could have a date at the Spectrum?
You serious about entertaining that thought?
Yes, I am.
I don't know.
You see the size of his Polish nose? I'd like to get it just a little bit bigger. I don't anticipate anybody could ever whip up on a Gorilla Monsoon, because what happens is that you people are tremendous athletes, and when you're done, it's like a pro football player. When he's done, he's not all of a sudden a nobody.
No, that's true. That's true. And I stay in pretty good shape all the time. I play a lot of racquetball. And
you play racquetball?
Yes.
You really do?
Yes, I do.
What is your size right now?
Pardon me?
What is your size right now?
Right now, I'm down to about 356.
Hey. Holy carungi.
And going down all the time, but...
how tall?
I don't know. I'll consider it. Let me put it that way. I'll think about it. Right?
All right. Well, I want you to think about it.
Getting back to what you originally opened up with, you wanted to make a commitment to professional wrestling. We, in turn, will make a commitment to you that every 3 weeks we will supply you with the likes of Superstar Billy Graham, Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Love it. All right.
Captain Lou Albano.
Oh, Lou Albano!
Buddy Rogers.
How about, I want this one guy I want to see walk in that door at the Ribbit one night. And that's John Studd.
John Studd is possible, sure. And if you do a little reinforcing here, we might even be able to get Andre up here.
No, but I tell you what, I want to be able to see if one of our people here at the Ribbit, after eating some of Paul's great beef ribs, could pick up John Studd. Huh?
It's highly unlikely.
You tried to do that.
I tried to do it. Andre tried to do it. It's not an easy task to pick up a guy and body slam him. It's just not an easy task. There are many ways to block it. There are many ways to get out of it. Once the guy does have you hooked in the slam position, as he did with me, grasped the rope, that took care of that. The referee did nothing about it, but that's neither here nor there. The 10 grand would have been nice in my pocket, but it's not there. Freddie Blassie used a few tricks to stop Andre from slamming him. I'm sure Andre, had a good shot to do it.
You have a lot of show in what you do. Look, when I was at Oregon State, and they had always one of the top 10 wrestling teams in the country, if not every year, at least every other year. Watching collegiate and high school wrestling gets a bit boring because for the average fan, it is boring. You add spice to it. You have to add a lot of show to it.
We deal in excitement.
You do.
We deal in excitement.
And I remember one day watching Chris Taylor. Is Chris Taylor
passed away?
He has died. He did
passed
die.
away. Yes.
But Chris Taylor, when he came out of collegiate wrestling, he had trouble finding his way.
Well, he went out to Minneapolis and went into Vern Gagne's wrestling academy and got a real education. He thought he knew something about wrestling, and he found out in a hurry that he didn't know a great deal about it.
All right, before we go any further, I want to let you know our number to call, 365-4100. We have John roving around downstairs. He's got a live bait already on the hook. We have people up here lined up to talk with Gorilla Monsoon. You've heard him say every 3 weeks here at the River, we're going to have a pro wrestler. I believe in giving you people what you want. When you pack the spectrum the way you do, if you pack the spectrum for dog fights, I'd get 2 dogs on here to talk to. Believe me. Okay, let's go to a call now. Good evening. Welcome to 96.5.
Hi, Rod. Great show. I listen every night. Gorilla?
Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering if I could bounce a couple names off you. You might be able to tell me what what you're doing now. Or Dino Bravo.
Dino Bravo is currently wrestling in Montreal.
Larry Zbyszko.
Larry Zbyszko is, he started to sit down and write a book about what I don't know. I know he made a record. I've never heard it, but I know he made a 45 record. I believe he's wrestling right now in the Atlanta area.
Do you think he might come back to the World Wrestling Federation?
Well, the only way you could do that was if he bulked up. Larry, I understand now, is about 205 pounds, and he primarily has to limit himself to a light heavyweight territory.
How about Spiros Arion?
Spiros Arion is in Greece, not wrestling.
San Martino Jr.
Bruno Sammartino Jr. is wrestling in Texas at the moment.
Now, I heard a rumor, I read a rumor, I should say, in one of the wrestling magazines about Lou Albano is trying to seek out Abdul the Butcher and bring him to the World Wrestling Federation. Have you heard anything about that?
No, of course, Lou Albano's been known to do a number of strange things, and there's no telling what Lou is up to. I don't think Abdul has been around here in about 10 years.
He was last seen playing offensive tackle for the Tampa Bay franchise of the USFL.
He stays pretty much overseas, Japan, Australia. He's got quite a good commitment there.
Thanks for calling. Let's take a live guest here if we can at the Ribbon upstairs. Good evening.
How you doing, Rob?
Fine.
How you doing, Gorilla?
Fine.
First of all, this Saturday coming up, I'd like your opinion on Rocky Johnson, Magnificent Morocco.
Well, that's going to be one of the highlights of the evening at the Spectrum this Saturday, and that's the Johnson-Morocco match. Recently here on television, they had a title match in which Rocky Johnson beat Morocco at least twice during that match, and the referee never called it. So it's a real grudge thing. I think Rocky proved to a lot of people that he had the ability and the desire to be a champion and to be a belt holder, and that it's going to be one of the most exciting matches at the Spectrum.
Who do you think is going to take Bob Backlund's belt?
Who do I think will take Bob Backlund's belt? Well, Ivan Koloff is somebody who could take Bob Backlund's belt. So is John Studd. On any given night, anybody can be beaten.
All right, thank you so much. Gorilla, I know that after pro wrestlers are done with their days in the ring, they want to settle down to a happy home life, correct?
Assuming, yes.
Assuming they have somebody to settle down with,
absolutely.
Right? And in order to make it a happy home life, you not only have to be a good breadwinner, somebody that can cut the grass and clean the car, but you also have to have a healthy sex life.
Absolutely.
And to a lot of men, The biggest problem they have is impotence. I'm serious. Impotence is a big problem in America today. Look, it's embarrassing to some. Believe me. Some people can't look in the mirror. Even to some people, it's a tragedy. I'm not just talking about older men now. I'm talking about younger men, too. Guys like Gorilla Monsoon, who in his days in the ring had no problem getting it. But now, Gorilla, nothing makes a man feel less like a man than the inability to have a healthy sex life. 10 million men in America are struggling with the problem. Are you one of them? Are you one of them? Don't be ashamed unless you don't do something to help yourself. Now, fortunately, my friends, for many men, the problem is physical malfunction related to nutrition. Eat a lot of cheap food and drink a lot of cheap drinks. You're not going to have a healthy life. Vicem Products Corporation has developed a multivitamin product with added nutrients, which, when taken with a well-balanced diet, will develop and maintain a healthy body on the inside to really help solve your physical malfunction. This special potency formula is called, what is it called, everybody? Viral, you bet it is. It's the man's formula. Viral can help you. A 30-day supply costs only $18.95 delivered. Call now toll-free, Visa and MasterCard accepted, as well as checks, money orders, chickens, or old pelts. COD also. The toll-free number, and I'm not kidding now, call the number after the show. 1-800-441-7626. 1-800-441-7626, no matter where you are. If the lines are busy, hang up and try again. 1-800-441-7626. What is it they should pick up? Viral. And the phone number again, 1-800-441-7626. So get with it. It's the natural method of coping. Back at the ribbon, I'm Rod Luck. Gorilla Monsoon is our guest. The number to call, 365-4100. And it was troublesome. Gorilla, the Pro Wrestling Federation, your federation, the pro wrestling family has a lot of former college athletes, some pretty good college wrestlers.
No question. I think probably in excess of 90% of the men in the business today are college graduates with a scholastic background in wrestling.
When I lived in Milwaukee, the Crusher was a big name, and he started in Pittsburgh, I think, years ago.
Yes, definitely.
Here's a guy now, he's got to be 55, 60.
Still active.
Still active. You ought to see this son of a gun.
Of course, he couldn't be active here in this area. He wouldn't be able to get a license at his age.
But I mean, he is still active in the Midwest.
Oh, no question, yeah.
But he stays in shape. And do these people spend a lot of time? The bodies are magnificent. Do they spend a lot of time on the weight bench?
Well, you take a guy like Rocky Johnson, Bob Backlund, you don't get that way waiting for the bus.
I've never seen a body like Jimmy Snuka's.
Oh, Jimmy's unbelievable. But, Jimmy spends a great deal of time, whatever time that he has that's free, that he's not traveling on the road or trying to make a commitment as far as bookings are concerned, he's in the gymnasium working on that body because he knows that the body is his livelihood, and he's got to keep it functioning at 100%.
365-4100 is our number. We have a gentleman downstairs here at the river that would like to talk to Gorilla Monsoon.
Hey, super fan Greg. I got a little paradoxical problem here. Whereas my enjoyment of my favorite baseball team is being thwarted by a certain decrepit old first baseman, my enjoyment of wrestling is being thwarted by a certain dull, slow, boring, sissy-faced, howdy-doody reject of a champion by the name of Bob Backlund. I want to know, how long do true wrestling fans like myself have to put up with this mama's boy?
Bob Backlund is the champion number one. Number two is probably the greatest conditioned professional athlete today, bar none. Recently, on one of our television programs, he did the Harvard step test for 1 hour, and on completion, his blood pressure was 135/80. This is an unbelievable feat for any athlete, let alone a pro wrestler, a pro football player, cross-country man, whatever you may, whatever you say about Bob, you're entitled to your own opinion. As far as I'm concerned, Bob is a hell of an athlete and represents professional wrestling very well. Whenever he's in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh or New York or wherever, he takes time to go to Veterans Hospital, children's homes. I don't think you find too many other pro athletes take time out of their schedule to do things like that.
All right, thank you so much. So we're taking the microphone away from you. If you want to have it back, just give John...
I got a Rod, I have a real scoop for the Philadelphia fans.
I'd love to hear it.
As of noon today, we received notice from the captain, Captain Lou Albano, that last Saturday night in Baltimore at the Baltimore Civic Arena, one of the Samoans severely injured his hip. We don't know how valid this information is because Lou tends to lie a lot.
Any guy that wears a
whatever, whether it's true or not, Lou Albano is putting on the tights Saturday night.
You're kidding.
And will be part of that six-man tag team match that is the main event.
At the Spectrum.
It will be Lou Albano, one of the Samoans, and Big John Studd against Bob Backlund, Superfly Snuka, and Andre the Giant.
Don't go.
In the back of my mind, I think Albano is looking to get another shot at Superfly.
Oh, really?
They have a big thing going, and this may be one of, I don't know, the guy could be legitimately hurt too, Rod. I don't know.
Is that, somebody told me he has a pierced earring in his cheek.
Lou has, he wears some kind of weird things. It pierces his cheek, his lip, his nose. Lou's not playing with a full deck. We all know that.
I like Lou. His elevator doesn't quite get over to the top floor, does it?
I don't know. He's someone to be reckoned with. He's making a great living in professional
wrestling. We can have him here?
Absolutely.
We're going to have him here at the Ribbon. Lou Albano in a little while, folks, so stay tuned for that one. We have the Ribbon with Gorilla Monsoon. Welcome him again, everybody.
Rod, I failed to mention, Rod, this particular six-man tag that's going to be at the Spectrum this Saturday has a special referee that was assigned by the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission, and that's Swede Hansen.
All right.
It seems that, I don't know, if I were the State Athletic Commission, I guess I would assign a guest referee to this type bout because you've got some enormous bodies in there, and there's no one on the State Athletic Commission payroll as a referee that could, handle this type bout. They're not going to push a Swede around.
No, they aren't. Man, I got to tell you something. About 4 years ago, I had a chance to referee a match when Cowboy Bob Orton was wrestling against Vern Gagne's kid, Greg Gagne.
Greg Gagne.
And Orton, you ever see Bob Orton, Cowboy Bob? He's kicking. I honest to God, I'm this far from him in the ring refereeing, and he's kicking Gagne in the throat. He really was kicking him in the throat. So I got mad at him, and I started to help Gagne. I swear to God, I pulled him off, and I pushed him into the ropes, and the guy cracked me in the chops. And that's why my nose is as big as it is right now. He broke my nose. And then I disqualified him. Now, Blackjack Lanza is sitting ringside, along with some other donkey, and they both jumped in the ring and started to beat the heck out of Greg Gagne, and I took off. My nose looked like the backside of a Brahma.
Where was Vern when all this was going on?
Vern Gagne, though, I ran to the locker room, and Vern went running by me, yelling at me, "You son of a gun!" He didn't say son of a gun. Why'd you leave him alone in the ring? Vern Gagne, he must be 60 now.
Probably, yes.
Went in there, and I saw him. I don't know if anybody's ever seen Blackjack Lanza. He cracked him so hard, he put him over the top rope. He protected his son like a papa bear would a child, a baby bear, whatever they call cub.
Right.
It's incredible. I know there's a lot of show and a lot of things, but they're human beings that you're dealing with, and sometimes, boy, I'll tell you what, it gets to the point of running people's heads in the ring posts and kicking, and some of the eye gouging that goes on.
Well, there's a lot of dangerous equipment out there, Rod. The ring itself is a very dangerous piece of equipment. It's got sharp things all over. It's constructed out of steel. Outside the ring is tables, chairs, TV monitors, microphones. I broke a shoulder one night in Washington because somebody had a microphone stand sitting outside of the ring apron. And as I went out of the ring, I could just see myself being skewered by this microphone stand, and I kicked my head the other way, and when I did, I lost all conception of where I was going and broke my shoulder.
You're lucky you didn't go out of the ring rear end first on that one, girl.
Oh, yeah. Might have got a rise out of it.
We have another guest here live at the Ribbon. Good evening.
Thank you, Rod. Excuse me. First of all, I'd like to thank Prism for bringing a gentleman of your stature on to the cable telecast. You bring a lot of color and expertise to it, and us, the cable viewer, appreciates it greatly.
Thank you very much.
My two questions is this. Number one, your toughest match ever, regardless of arena, stadium, whatever. Who was that? And second question, My personal favorite classic match was 78 with Backlund and superstar Billy Graham for the stretcher match. I want you to elaborate on your favorite and greatest match you ever saw at the Spectrum, since most of our listening audience is from the Philadelphia, South Jersey area.
Well, greatest match that I was ever involved in, no question in my mind, was against Bruno Sammartino in Madison Square Garden. We went an hour and 28 minutes without a fall to the curfew. The match was designed to go in the ring at 9:15 or so to eliminate any possibility of going to the 11 o'clock curfew, and we did anyway. I lost 22 pounds of water weight during that match.
You're kidding.
I was wasted for 3 days following that match. It was a real education for me.
Gorilla, what did you do before you became a professional wrestler?
Well, I went to college. I'm a college graduate. I was teaching school at the time I was inducted into professional wrestling. I made a tour with an Olympic wrestling team in 1959, went to Russia, Turkey, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, quite a few Iron Curtain countries, doing promotional work for the 1960 Olympics. And when I returned, I started teaching school on a high school level and was called up by professional promoters and wanted me to turn pro.
It's 7:30 now. We're here till 8 o'clock at the Ribbit, 1709 Walnut on the Talk Station, 96.5. I'm Rod Luck on WWDB with Gorilla Monsoon. Let's take another call. Good evening. Hello? Hello?
Gorilla.
This is our call from Japan. Good evening.
Gorilla.
Yes.
Yes,
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I've been a fan of professional wrestling for years, always watching it on TV from way back when it used to be Capital Wrestling.
Still is Capital Wrestling.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it used to come from Washington with Ray Morgan.
Right, absolutely.
Whatever happened to the Sheik and King Curtis? They used to be two wrestlers from years ago. They were pretty wild in the ring. They used to, get in the ring and go crazy and stuff like that.
Right. Well, the Sheik is still in the Detroit area, which is his home. He's no longer wrestling beyond the age where he can get a license anymore to wrestle. King Curtis had a very, very serious illness, which attacked his nervous system, and he's just getting around now, starting to get around a little bit with a cane and a walker, but he's on the beach in Honolulu.
Oh, I see.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to take another live guest. Good evening.
Grill, a couple minutes ago, Rod used the word athlete and talked about wrestling. Now I'm looking at the current issue of Sports Illustrated. On the cover is the greatest baseball player in history, Pete Rose, Tony Perez, and Joe Morgan. Now, I consider them athletes. I consider the guys who are going to be up Saturday night.
You fat slop.
Hey,
it's getting kind of dirty down
here. I'm not baseball George's flunky. But Grill, I have a proposition for you. I've never been to a wrestling match in my life. I'm willing to trade.
How would you like 2 tickets to the wrestling
I'm
Saturday?
willing to trade you this copy of Sports Illustrated for 2 tickets to the wrestling match.
Sure, why not?
Okay, come on over.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to say that's intelligent? No. Go ahead. Okay, let's take a call from home. Good evening. Welcome to 96.5.
Yes, I was just, the card for Saturday night sounds excellent at the Spectrum. One thing I like to say that kind of disappoints me about wrestling is the fact that whenever a so-called good guy holds the championship, I just like the fact that none of the other so-called good guy wrestlers ever challenge for that belt. They'll always have to wait till a bad guy gets it. That's one thing I dislike. Why is that?
Well, number one, it's not a question of challenging. It's a question of the ratings by the World Wrestling Federation as to who the number one challengers are. In the past, it has come to pass where so-called good guys have wrestled good guys for the title. For example, Bobo Brazil wrestled Bruno Sammartino for the title right here in Philadelphia. It wasn't box office, didn't draw any money. It was a very interesting match. Bobo Brazil did, at that particular time, have the ratings necessary to be deemed number one challenger, and so was given a title shot. In most cases, it won't work out that way, and I would like to see it the other way. I'd like to see a Superfly Jimmy Snuka wrestle Bob Backlund for the title, a Rocky Johnson wrestle Backlund for the title, and a number of other guys who I think are outstanding wrestlers get in there and wrestle Backlund for the title, or anybody else who might have the title.
Well, let's make those matches.
matches.
All right.
I wish we could make those matches. It's all up to Mr. Shima in Japan, who is the president of the World Wrestling Federation, and he compiles the records that are constantly being tabulated all the time.
Okay, thanks so much. We're going to take a break just for a moment right here live at the Ribbon. We're going to welcome the 96.5.
Oh, right. I got a question for Gorilla and a few comments for you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Gorilla, how old is Superstar Billy Graham?
How old is Superstar Billy Graham?
Yeah.
Billy is either 40 or 39.
And Rod, I think you should let Gorilla punch her teeth in so you can talk out of both sides of your mouth and apply for Digger Phelps' job.
No, I like it. Thanks, Digger. I couldn't get Digger's job at Notre Dame. In order to have the basketball job at Notre Dame, you got to talk out of both sides of your mouth. Thank you.
You're right.
Yeah.
You giving any tickets out to your faithful phone callers?
We're giving out tickets. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm not giving many away to faithful phone callers, but I'll give 2 to you since you asked. I like to give them to people that take time out to come down to the Ribbon.
I'll
get 2 to you. Now, wait a minute. Shut up a minute. You leave your name, please, at the station, and we're going to put you on hold back at the station. You leave your name and address, and I will send these 2 tickets to you in the morning. How's that?
Thanks a lot, Rod.
All right, stay there on hold. Okay, we hope we didn't cut him off. Let's go to another call. Good evening. Welcome to 96.5.
Yes, I'd like to know what's the best way for fans to demonstrate that they want to see a particular match. Whom do they write to? Whom do they pressure?
They would write to the World Wrestling Federation in care of Capital Wrestling Corporation, 225 White's Path, South Yarmouth, Mass. Zip code escapes me at the moment.
Okay, and do they really respond to fan pressure?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
All right, thanks for calling. Let's go to a live guest here at the Rivet. Good evening.
How you doing, Gorilla? I have a question. Do you think that Hulk Hogan and Killer Khan will return to the WWF?
There's no question in my mind that those 2 particular individuals will always come back to this area because as far as all wrestlers are concerned, this is the mecca for professional wrestling. You're dealing with the Spectrum, Madison Square Garden, the Cap Center, Baltimore Civic Center, Pittsburgh Civic Arena. These are the major marketplaces for professional wrestling. Consequently, all the best talent in the world is traveling through this area at one time or another, and they will appear here. There's no question.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Let's go downstairs now to a guest here at the Rivet. Good evening.
Good evening, Rod. Gorilla, my pleasant memory from you is what you did to Muhammad Ali back in '74. Just beautiful. The question I have to ask is, when Superstar Billy Graham first came back to the Wrestling Federation, it was no secret that his goal and objective was to regain the title he lost to Bob Backlund. And it appeared that the match was imminent, but one hasn't occurred here in Philadelphia. Has it occurred elsewhere? And is the match between Bob Backlund and Superstar Billy Graham going to come to Philadelphia?
I don't think so. The opportunity was there and was met in a number of markets. He wrestled him in Baltimore. He wrestled him in Washington. Wrestled him in Pittsburgh Civic Arena unsuccessfully. I think the day that the Superstar Billy Graham will get another title shot is not in the future.
And one more quick question, please.
Yeah, I wanted to know whatever became of the following wrestlers, Victor Rivera.
Victor Rivera is a real estate salesman in Los Angeles.
And Rod, could I have 2 tickets if possible?
Can you say something nice to me?
Great show. Fantastic show.
You will get 2 tickets.
Love your hat.
All right, let's go to another call. Good evening. Welcome to 96.5. Hello, good evening.
Hello, Bill?
Yes.
I watch wrestling from Georgia.
Yes.
And Ric Flair was on talking about how he beat Bob Backlund. And I just want to know what you thought about that. They had a match down there.
Depends on, how the match was won, whether the belts were at stake. If, in fact, he did wrestle Bob Backlund, you can't believe everything you read in the wrestling magazines because they're a fountain of misinformation, number one. I don't know, to my knowledge, that Bob has wrestled Rick recently anywhere in the country. And if he did beat Bob, I don't know whether the titles were at stake or were not at stake. There's a petition going around now to have a unification of the titles, but I don't think it'll ever take place.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, here I want to give the opportunity to people at home really to talk to Gorilla. We have a lot of people on the phone. Let's go to another phone call from WWDB Central here at the Rivet. Good evening.
Yes, Rod, you put a great show on. I enjoy your show. But there's one thing I like to say. Last week you talked about Gorilla. You said that he could beat him in the ring.
I can beat him in the ring.
No way.
He won't get in the ring with me. He's gonna do it. We're gonna do some checking, and he might climb out of retirement into the ring. I don't say I can beat him. I said that he'd probably kick my fanny all the way to row number 10.
Now wait a minute. Let's get serious. You didn't say that. You said last week that you could beat him.
Well, I can beat him then. How's that? Does that make you happy?
No way.
You gonna be able to sleep tonight? I'll give a shot to the Gnuts, and you'll never get up.
Oh, you want to give a cheap shot then, eh?
Yeah, it's gonna be a cheap shot. When he turns around and blow kisses to you, I'm gonna kick him in the Gnuts.
Yeah, well, that's no way to do it now, Jake. I heard you talk last week. You said you could beat him. He's going to be it.
He's a young lady. He's a girl. He's a woman. I'm going to take him and I'm going to make his neck into a pencil.
Let me talk to him.
You Yes, go ahead.
Okay? And what he said about you last week, it's not good.
You know, I think that
who's this guy?
Rob makes a lot of derogatory remarks, but you got to just consider the source, and then just.
I agree with you, very much so. All right.
I'm a strong-hearted Polish kid that wants to take this Armenian and run him to the top rope.
You need help, man.
Believe me, I'm going to tell you something. We're going to have the match. It'll be at the Spectrum at a time to be announced because I know I can get him out of retirement because I know that this man likes the finer things. You ever see the rings he wears on his hands? All I got to do is offer him the right money and we'll get in the ring. How's that? I got connections in Atlantic City.
Oh, my God.
You all forgot already, haven't you? Let's go to another call. Good evening. Welcome to 96.5. I'm just kidding, by the way. I hope I'm just kidding. What's the guy down at the Federal Building's going, let's check on luck again.
Oh, my God.
Good evening, Rod.
Yeah.
I'm a first-time caller to your program. I wanted to ask Gorilla, what happened to these four people? Bobo Brazil, Hans Mortier, what is Bruno Sammartino doing now? And there was a young Indian fellow that used to wrestle with as a tag team partner with Chief Strongbow, who was hurt in the ring I think in the neck area or something like that. And I wonder what happened to him. And then there's this one wrestler who is always calling Polish power in the ring. Why is it he never wrestles for a title?
Well, number one, you're talking about Ivan Putski, and he probably never had the right win status to be deemed number one challenger for any title. Number two, Bobo Brazil is still wrestling, primarily in the Midwest area. Bruno Sammartino is retired and at home in Pittsburgh. And the other fellow you were talking about is Billy White Wolf, who broke his neck. He's currently teaching school in Honolulu.
Okay.
Okay, what happened? Hello.
Yes, go ahead. You have one more question.
Yeah, what happened to Hans Mortier, who used to wrestle? I remember one time he wrestled against San Martino. He used to be the European champ or something like that.
Absolutely, yes. He's from Germany. He is retired and is back in Germany.
All right, thank you for calling.
Look, why are promoters now purposely not using Bruno Sammartino Jr. in their cards and spreading the word around not to use him up here?
That's not true. Bruno Sammartino has never applied to wrestle in the World Wrestling Federation, as far as I know.
But his father's right now suing Capital Wrestling Corporation. I think that's the true reason why Bruno Jr. won't even attempt to come up here.
Not to my knowledge. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, you were bought out by Vince McMahon Jr. recently, you and Zacco, so I guess you're not in on the suit, so you didn't have to get a lawyer.
Well, thank you.
I don't see where that has anything to do. As far as any lawsuits are concerned, I don't really know what you're speaking of.
All right, thanks so much. Gorilla, I got to thank you for being here. We got about 50 seconds before we go. But again, in a couple of weeks, some of the names we're going to be having in the future here at the Rivet. Who are we going to have?
We'll get the Captain Lou in here, and Buddy Rogers, Superfly, Jimmy Snuka, Rocky Johnson, the Magnificent One, Magnificent Morocco, and a host of guys we'll try to make available.
And you got a big show Tuesday or the Saturday night at the Spectrum. Saturday
night at the Spectrum, probably one of the biggest cards of the year.
All right, that's Saturday, the Spectrum, everybody.